Good evening, everyone. Today, I want to share with us, what formula of everything is. When you look at formula of everything, we have it being mathematically formalized as the T the M equal to capital UM plus 4M. Now, if we want to dissect that, we can get to know that the linear solution of the formula is nested, right inside the time evolution based on, mass formation. And what can we interpret that to be? That simply means that the linear solution is to actually suspend the weak conveying force, which is the 4M, by the strong conveying force, which is the UM. And once we have that at the classical level, then it is certain that we can have spontaneous annihilation of suspended zero down to the quantum realm, or down to the quantum mechanics, or down to the quantum level. And basically, that is telling us that the moment we reach that suspended point where energy is exhausted by the constancy of gravity, then we are going to have that free fall into the quantum realm. So definitely, by having time evolution based on mass formation and then having that nested linear solution, we can get the full reality of the universe. And that is all we need to explain the reality of the universe. So basically, when you look at the constant speed of the universe, which is the capital U, that is 2.5 times 10 raised power 39. That is synonymous to the large number hypothesis of Dirac. But Dirac got his own value to be 2.27 times 10 raised to power 39. And so there is no spontaneous annihilation of suspended zero to connect to the quantum mechanics. But basically, we are going to have the manual annihilation of suspended zero. But in real fact, it's going to be spontaneous because energy is being exhausted at that point where weak conveying force is suspended to strong conveying force. And what that is telling us is that the trajectory will go into the quantum mechanics, and that will bridge the divergence from the classical mechanics to the quantum mechanics. So all we need to know is to know the time evolution based on mass formation, and then have that suspension that can actually lead or connect us to the quantum mechanics. So now the 2.5 times 10 raised to power 39 is going to be the ideal constant speed of the universe, in the sense that when you look at the conservation law, or you look at the conservation law of mechanism, or the conservation law of mechanical system, for you to get to the peak point that can actually travel down the roller coaster, when you have a roller coaster's circle formation, then 2.5 times the radius of that roller coaster formation above the ground level will be the point where you can have a momentum right from that slope that will actually travel through that roller coaster shape, which is in form of circle, then to the other side. So when we dissect that, we see that there must be a particular constant speed that must be maintained for us to reach a maximum point at classical level that will lead to spontaneous annihilation of suspended zero. And since it is zero, or mean, since zeros are being annihilated, that is translated to instant trajectory of time. And it is at the speed of time that we can actually connect to the quantum level or to the quantum mechanics through down and then to the higher dimension to connect to the positron. And once we are able to connect right from the quantum mechanics up to the complex level, then we'll be able to run at the speed that is faster than the speed of light, and then get, that flipping mechanism of that higher dimension, which is 3D, to the substrate dimension, which is 2D. And that is going to be the reality of the universe. So now, there is something that Einstein said that concerning relativity of simultaneity. It is difficult for us to have a global now, but the whole essence of the reality of the universe is for us to have static and undulating field. And that static and undulating field, inside it we can have instant transmission of information. And basically the whole essence of the universe is to maintain global now by making quantum gravity to be constant acceleration, relativistically to the classical gravity, which is constant deceleration. So now, quantum phenomenon or quantum gravity phenomenon is so tiny relative to the classical phenomenon, and as a result of that, we're not going to really have the cancellation effect of having such inverse phenomena happening at the same time. So now, another key thing that we need to know is that quantum gravity, please, I need you to take note of this. Quantum gravity is constant acceleration, while classical gravity is constant deceleration. And that is synonymous to being on a gym machine which tracks momentum is running inversely to your own running posture. And if you have that, you will just be constantly running on one spot. So your running articulation or your running energy will not translate to any kind of momentum from one point to another. You'll be running on the same spot. And so when we have constant acceleration, we're going to have the conservation law of energy to be translated to what I call arbitrary mass formation, because in the nucleus, electron is not defined. And so the adjusted speed, which is energized momentum, will be translated to arbitrary mass formation to serve as resistance or as a resistance to free fall of gravity or free fall of classical gravity. So definitely we can see how conservation or how symmetries are being maintained right at the suspension of light speed in the time energy wave model. Then when it gets to the nucleus, it is still being maintained, but we have energized speed to actually account for arbitrary mass resistance to that free fall. And that is just to sustain a singularity in the black hole for us to have the global now. So the instant trajectory of time from the classical realm or from the classical level to the quantum and beyond is to actually sustain, to maintain singularity in the black hole for us to have a synchronized global now. So that is that. There is more to formula of everything. It's a powerful formula that unifies quantum mechanics to classical mechanics, and if you really want to know how that formula is being derived, you can get my research publication, which is The Time Theory of the Universe, on ijser.org, or get Seeing the Anatomy of Quantum Gravity Through Formula of Everything. So I have 2 research publications on Formula of Everything, and then I have Time Energy Wave Model. So Time Energy Wave Model, that is the physical representation or physical illustration of the universe's reality. And then application of Formula of Everything is, the unification of quantum mechanics to classical mechanics. So that being said, we now know that for us to have the solution and to have the reality of the universe, we only have the linear solution of classical mathematical formalism, and that will extend our solution to a peak level where we can have spontaneous annihilation of suspended zero that will serve as time trajectory into quantum mechanics and beyond to have complex system. And now complex system simply means that the 2, which is the substrate dimension where the quantum mechanics is operational, we extend or we transit into 3D, where we are going to have higher domain of freedom, or higher freedom of domain and power. And there is where we have the needed space for positron to be formed. And once we have that connectivity to it, electron will be defined, and that is quantum entanglement for you. So quantum entanglement travels beyond the quantum mechanics into the complex system for us to have the speed that is faster than the speed of light. So in the nucleus we only have compacted gravitational field. So we have equilateral triangle, which tells us that the constancy of light speed is still being maintained. But since we have adjustment in speed such that we have energized speed, then that speed will be faster to smoothing out the constant effect of energy in order for us to have standing wave, which is the point where we have the trajectory of the mass formation, where we have the intersection of that mass formation momentum to the curvature of energy. So that is that. Thank you. I still remain my humble self, Shotade Olusegun. Formula of Everything is a very powerful formula. Please get my books on Amazon to get more information about this. God bless you. Thank you.